Welcome to Riley's Garden Adventures, and today the plan is comprehensive. I'm going to showcase my entire garden as part of a new series where at the beginning or in the middle of each month I will do a complete garden tour of every part of my garden, including the garden deck, the garden bed, the pepper garden, the flower bed, and my extended overflow garden. At the end of this video you'll know exactly about how every single plant in my garden is growing, and you will know this for months to come. So let's begin. We are at the garden deck, and I plan to start from here and loop around all the way to here on all the plants that are going to be covered. So let's go look at the first tomato I'm going to showcase. Is my Sun Gold tomato, already having ripe orange fruits. I'm not going to do a taste test video on this because I'm still waiting for my Sun Sugar so I can do a little versus video on that. But look at that, loaded with blossoms, loaded with fruit. Love Sun Gold, and it's only in this 2-gallon container, so just imagine if it wasn't a bigger one. Now we got my San Marzano over here. I had to rebuy the seedling because the original San Marzano, which is hidden back here, suffered from herbicide drift, so I cut the top off. Now we have my Black Krim, which has an almost ripe tomato over here, and tons of more tomatoes back here. Just look at that. We have a lot coming on the way. Can't wait to do a taste test of that. Here we got Boxcar Willie. Boxcar Willie making pumpkin looking like tomatoes. Beautiful plant. Going up over here, and despite herbicide drift, it has a lot of fruits. Now we also got 4th of July, which I just made a video on, so it's kind of barren with ripe fruits. I plucked them all off, but we still have a lot more fruits on the way. Here we have some of my random flowers. We got zinnias, 4 o'clocks, salvia, my citronella plant. We got mint. Don't know, I think this is spearmint. I cannot confirm, it might be peppermint, one of the two. We got my English thyme, got it for free and it's recovered. And I got a couple of basil plants right here. I just reused some containers, and this is just a part of an extension of my overall huge basil farm. Now we got my Brandy Boy. My Brandy Boy is an amazing tomato that I'm one of the most excited about. It's just basically brandy wine but better, and I can't wait to do a video on this. Loaded with fruits, mainly in this big cluster. In the lower levels, nothing much so far, but look at the potato leaf compared to the traditional other leaf. And I just can't wait to see when this gets taller and taller and more fruits. Now we have here Lemon Boy Plus, upgraded version of Lemon Boy. Look at that. Not much fruits yet, but it's still early. We got blossoms, and so this has a lot of potential to make a lot of fruit. Still not taller like Brandy Boy, but we'll get there. Better Boy Plus. This one, I don't even know what happened. Herbicide drift, whatnot. But despite how ugly the plant looks in itself, we got some beautiful looking fruit. Look at that beauty. Beautiful, picturesque, movie looking like plant. Like, look at that fruit, and there's a lot of them. So despite the plant looking god awful, we got beautiful fruits. Look at my original Better Boy. It's kind of hard to tell where it starts and begin, but looking good. No fruits yet on this. It's gonna start catching up though. I planted this as a small seedling while this one had a huge head start, hence why this has fruits. We got my Berry King. Berry King doing pretty well. Let's move this California poppy out the way so we can get a better look. But yeah, look at Berry King, pretty healthy. Not a lot of fruits like Sun Sugar or Sun Gold, but it's getting on there, and I can't wait to see if the flavor can live up to its Berry King name. Now we got Juliet, my All-American Selects winner plant that already has some ripe fruits on it. Well, almost, considering they're orange. But yeah, lots of fruits, holy mackerel. And it just keeps producing even though this plant is small. Look at my hanging basket of coleus and dahlias that I started from seed. My Sun Sugar, the upgraded version of Sun Gold, which I plan to do a comparison video of to Sun Gold. Burpee Super Steak, hit heavily with herbicide drift and whatnot, But despite that, there is still a lot of fruits over here. Very nice, very beautiful, excellent. My mega beautiful dahlia. Look at this dahlia. What the heck? How many blooms? We got 1 here, 2, holy crap, a wasp, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if you count the dying one. But so many blooms. Here we got is my Queen of the Night tomato and my Great White tomato. Both looking good despite being in the smaller pots of the garden deck. And I can't wait to see the very big contrast between such tomatoes. That's why I put them next to each other. We got my Pantano Romanesco, hit hard with herbicide drift, but despite that, this has a lot of potential for fruits. As you can see, fruit clusters forming, and this plant growing very vigorous stem-wise. I wanted to climb up there with beautiful Italian fruits. Now we got Pink Girl. Girls! Yeah, so we got four fruits right here. A couple more. Pink Girl doing really well. Very excellent tomato. And I got this for a really small plant, and now it's huge. We got my Rudy F2. Actually, sadly, it's performing really lackluster. I only see like 1 or 2 tomatoes on it. Barely can see it right now with all the foliage, but despite the plant being pretty big, it's 2 tomatoes, not too much. I got my Cherokee Purple. What the heck is this mutant? Whoa, humongous thing. Wow, it's just a big humongous mutant that I can't wait to show off later. But I'm gonna do a taste test comparison of Cherokee Purple versus Purple Boy. Probably not going to do a taste test of this because this is just a weird mutant, and it wouldn't be an accurate comparison to compare Purple Boy to that type of Cherokee Purple tomato. Another hanging basket I made. Here we got my Sequoia strawberries, which I plan to do a taste test video soon. Got a couple of beautiful strawberries right here. Not too much that I wanted. I wanted to be overloaded with fruits, but that's okay. We got Purple Boy, like I just mentioned. Very good. Lots of clusters on there. Lots of potential for lots of fruits. We got my Big Pink. Big Pink doing pretty good. Very healthy. Very little signs of herbicide drift, but has yet to start making a lot of fruits. Just a little bit right here. We got my Shin Lovely 256 Korean tomato. Holy crap, clusters galore, and these are supposed to be big clusters too. So later on we're gonna have full-size fruits in these long rows, and lots of tomatoes. Shin Lovely 256, excellent Korean tomato. We got Garden Leader Monster, supposed to be one of the big monster tomatoes. Lots of clusters too, just like Shin Lovely. Not too much, but the plant looks very healthy. Little herbicide drift. Very happy of this variety so far. Now we got Bodacious. What a name, Bodacious. Oh, my cat. My Bodacious hybrid doing pretty well. I'm just like kind of confused of what is this. I just think that's part of herbicide drift or something, because some seed leads had that versus others. I don't think it's a disease, but yeah, pretty good. Not yet fruits forming on that. Here we got is Honey Delight. Honey Delight is a cocktail yellow tomato. A couple of fruits starting. Can't wait to see clusters of that. And lots of flowers on the way. It's pretty good. Can't wait to see that. Here we have is my Ka-Chow Chinese tomato. It's ever since I transplanted, it's been rocketing up, catching up with the others, even though it was far behind the others in transplanting. Flowers are nice. It's doing well. Gotta start supporting it up the stake a little bit better. My phlox that have stopped blooming. My onions that I planted from the supermarket, and they have not done much. We got a Rocky Ford green melon. Not a single melon so far, despite the size of this plant. And I can't tell which one are the male or female flowers, so I don't know how to hand pollinate this thing. But let's hope we can get a melon by the end of the season. I'm sorry, my cat. And we have here is my honeycomb hybrid. I really thought this died when the storm blew it out of its pot, but it's recovered and made some good progress right now. Now I got my Super Sweet 100. This is a super duper tomato. Look at those cherries that are ripe right here. And if you climb up here, look at that. What the heck? is all these fruit clusters. Epic proportions of fruit clusters, titanic growth of fruit clusters. I can't believe how much fruit potential I'm gonna get on this thing. Amazing quality. Now I got my early girl got herbicide drifted to heck, but despite that we got some good fruits forming right there and doing pretty well. You know what, I'm just gonna let my cat come in. So now he's joining us. But yeah, we got my salvia right here, an early girl. Despite herbicide drift, we got some fruits to collect before I rip out this plant and replace it with one of my replacements. And then last but not least of all the tomatoes and vegetables up here, we got my big rainbow. Pretty good quality plant. Despite being an heirloom, we have a very healthy plant with no disease signs whatsoever. It's like a bicolor red, orange, yellow. Can't wait to see that beauty. Oh, and I forgot to show you my basil farm. This is immense amount of basils I'm showing you right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Plus all of these in the trays that I had to transplant into pots, as well as the supplemental basil here. So why do I have an insane amount of basil? It's because I have an insane amount of tomatoes and I have to complement those tomatoes with basil. And plus, I just like to have an abundance overflow of everything. I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, I ran out of basil. I want to be the guy who's like, I have too much basil. So yeah, this is my garden deck so far right now in June 13. And let's move on to my garden bed. So now that I showcased the garden deck, now it's time to go to the garden bed, which I actually like looking at more. And so here we are. And we're gonna first cover in my extended containers, and then we will cover the garden bed itself. But right here, it's my Celebrity Plus tomato, absolutely loaded with fruits. And this is the tag, and just look at those tomatoes. Crap ton of them, and they just produce in so many clusters. I just decided not to prune this because it's a semi-determinate type compared to indeterminate, and that's why it's so bushy and short compared to my big boy, which is an indeterminate that I grew last year and which is one of my favorites. So you can see Burpee's big boy tag right here. Look at those fruits. That's just beautiful. And then we're back to here, which is my pineapple tomato. Not much production going on, except for these two. It's trying to revive itself. We do have a couple of new flowers and a new sucker that does not seem to have as much herbicide drift as the rest of the plant. We'll see how that goes. Then we got my extra Better Boy Plus seedling back here, and I put it to 2 stems to make more fruits than it would with 1 stem, just to test out how they'll go. We got a little bit of fruits on there right now, not too much, but it's still early in the season. And now that we got the containers done, let us look at my Elite 7, which are right here. Now first we're gonna look at Abraham Lincoln. Insane tomato. Look at that. The cluster, that small cluster I showed you from my tomato master plan, got way bigger. Now we have another cluster here, another cluster here, a cluster forming here, another cluster forming here. And this is what? This is like 4 feet tall or whatever. It's not too tall, and we still have a long way to go. So if we're getting this many tomatoes now on Abraham Lincoln, just imagine when it reaches up here. Here we got is Big Beef, and Big Beef is a little bit smaller than Big Beef Plus, but we have some tomatoes growing on here. Very vigorous, very healthy plant, pretty tall too. I'm very happy. We got Big Beef Plus, which is arguably one of the best performers other than Abraham Lincoln in this garden bed. We got already pretty decent sized fruits right here, some fruits forming back here, and the plant overall is pretty tall, and we're having good progress with Big Beef Plus. Then I got Big Zack, the tomato that will make up to 6-pound tomatoes, and right here this thing is loaded with blooms. Not much fruit production going on yet, but it's still early, and we will have possibly a 6-pound tomato from this plant, and maybe multiple, as you can see. Hopefully this trellis can support it, and that's why it's held up by the metal parts rather than the string and the stake combo. Now we also got my, I think this is steakhouse. Yeah, steakhouse. Look at the blossoms of this thing. What in the heck? Beautiful, beautiful blossoms. Very healthy plant, very tall. I'm gonna have to start cutting off the sucker and picking the single stem that will go up here. But man, this thing looks very clean, very healthy. Flowers look amazingly big. Good potential on this one. Now we got porterhouse. Porterhouse has some herbicide drift signs, not too bad. Porterhouse is even supposed to be up to 4 pounds. It's doing pretty good, not as good as steakhouse. I'm still excited to see how it will go. Need to support this better because it looks like it's trying to dangle down. And last in the garden bed is my super sauce. This thing has been hit with herbicide drift and it hasn't always been the best ever since it was a seedling, but it's been overcoming its problems and we have a little bit of curly leaves and deformedness, but overall it's still good and I still think it has a very high potential to make loads of beautiful fruit with all these flowers right here. And I think that over time these leaves will uncurl itself as it gets bigger like this. Oh, and a side note, my clematis absolutely got busted. It did not survive the transplant and decided to die. So I'm very sad we will not have a clematis climb up here and beautify this trellis. But that's just what happens in gardening. Maybe I'm not so good with perennials. I'm much better with annuals. So yeah, let's move on to the flower bed. Welcome to my garden bed, which is basically a huge hodgepodge of random things. I'm not really a landscaper, but I want to grow as much plants as possible. So here we are, starting with my special salsa dancer hibiscus, which is really cool. Look at the variegation of these leaves, so beautiful. And maybe we're supposed to make this flower. Here is my fiesta hibiscus. You don't see any flowers on both of these because a deer recently just ate off all the buds, but I put deer repellent now, so hopefully they stay away. Is my assorted zinnias. We got some zinnias in these containers. My State Fair zinnias, which I introduced in my community posts. Look how tall they are compared to an average zinnia over there. This is my Titan sunflower, which has survived numerous deer attacks. Look at all those bite marks. But even though they're able to do fine and they're getting quite tall, this is a 6-foot stake, and as you can see, it is almost taller, so I gotta add my 10-foot bamboo stake soon. Here is my plethora of random flowers, and I'll just go quickly over what this is. This is celosia. These are all started by seed from my flower seed lineup. Not all of them germinated from the lineup, but this is what we got. Celosia here, marigolds, my stock flowers I got for free and transplanted them. My cut and come again zinnias, more and more random marigold types, more celosia. My special perennial sunflowers, which I got for free because they were about to die, so I'm trying to revitalize them, and they are a suncatcher sunflower, so a perennial sunflower, and that's really cool. I won't have to replant sunflowers next year. Got 3 of them because they always say plant in 3s. And here is my big glob of random tomatoes, because remember how my tomatoes would not germinate? So I dumped the seeds all into this pile right here, and somehow they germinated and made a bunch of tomatoes. I decided not to prune them because I just want to see what I can get. My gazania flowers, they're not looking the best right now, but they're doing pretty well with some cool blooms. Should have saw them earlier when they were just starting to bloom. A lot of them have spent their flowers. And then last but not least is my lemon citrus Meyer lemon plant and my random bodacious hybrid that I just flung right here. So that is the whole front of my garden bed. Super duper small pepper garden next to my rose bush, and I have 3 peppers to showcase right here. This is not jalapeno gigante, it's more like California Wonder because they mislabeled the plant, and as you can see there's little bell peppers everywhere, so that's definitely not a jalapeno. Next we got my Arapaho cayenne peppers, and we have lots of fruit. Look at all these peppers, just tons of them, loaded. This is also loaded But this is even more loaded. Gonna have tons of pepper, and I can't wait till they turn red so I can taste test them. And my last pepper I'm showcasing is my Sweet Banana All-American Selects winner banana pepper. And this one is the latest one I planted, so they're not as great as the other two, but they are gonna catch up. And yeah, pretty cool peppers, huh? But not least, we are in my overflow garden bed, which basically has all the extra seedlings and plants that would not fit in my garden bed or my garden deck. And I just put these tomatoes on this side of the wall to see what I could get out. But sadly, it did not matter because a deer has devoured literally all the tops of these plants, and they're trying to recover, but I don't really have a permanent solution to keep the deer away from these. So this is more like whatever happens, happens. They've already ate any fruit that these tomatoes could have made. As you can see right here, some fruits are left, but there used to be loaded with fruit, and now there's nothing left. So I'm just gonna see how this overflow garden does. But yeah, overall, this is my entire garden of all parts included. And if you like this video, stay tuned for more adventures on Riley's Gardening Adventures.